You're the one that was supposed to be nervous. So you should be able to see me in there, right? So I'm the red, orange, and yellow guy. So I make the joke normally with a bridal party that means I'm the hottest thing inside the video right now. It works, yeah. But you're going to realize why I make that joke later on. So by the way, as we kind of go... No. The wife will kill me if I start stripping in front of you guys. But anyway, because she does go back every once in a while. I'm like, oh, let me see what Nick caught last night. And like, oh, shit, he was stripping for his group.
Is your voice thing recording right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll be professional then.
No, you won't. You don't have to be.
No, I won't.
She knows I'm a smartass anyway.
Sorry, wife.
But we're looking for blue and black. That's what we're looking for out of this one particularly. And I want it to move or to take shape. When I say take shape, I want heads, shoulders, moving arms and legs. Like, that's what I'm looking for out of this guy. Does it capture something every night? Not necessarily. This isn't TV. But what I will tell you is when we do capture something here, it is a holy shit moment. I'm just going to put that out there.
Really?
Oh yeah, big time. Blues and blacks. So,
How big?
Size doesn't always matter with this particular guy. I will tell you, like, it is normally, I kind of always like to have a comparison in view. So when I give this over to Ron, I'm going to tell him to try to make sure one of us is in view at all times. So that way we kind of have a relevance of height, obviously temperature. So that way I can see like where the warmest thing out here. It's much easier to find a cold spot if we have a warm spot in reference. But as far as size goes, as long as he catches something taking shape and it's the coldest spot in the frame, which is my next point, there's a blue dot that's bouncing around the frame right now. I set it up that way on purpose so you guys would actually know where the coldest spot is in the frame during your video. It will be on your video when you guys get it back. There's also a sensor crosshairs there. If Ron wants to actually measure something all on his own, like the engine of a car, he can do that just by simply moving the camera back and forth, because that center is not going to move.
I was going to ask, like on the where the crosshairs, right?
Yeah.
If we see a crosshair, or if that crosshair is in a blue zone, do we want to move the camera towards that?
Not necessarily, because the blue dot will pick it up if it's the coldest spot.
It will. Okay.
Yeah, because there's two different spots on here: center crosshairs, and then there's the blue dot crosshairs.
Okay.
So I'm usually looking in that blue dot. I'm looking for 15-degree temperature drops. Like tonight, we're at a 70 degrees, 71 degrees. So we're going to be looking at a 55-degree and colder, are things that I'm looking for. So again, does size always matter? He might move this camera like super quick, and I capture a quick 50-degree little blue spot where there was no glass, because glass is always going to be colder. So I'll take still frames, go frame by frame and kind of see what's going on with it. If I find something where it's not a piece of glass or something along those lines, and I can't debunk it, you guys will get the screenshots to see what I found. So, as great as the hardware is, and look at you, you're a pro. So,
it's an iPhone.
Did you get that, Kim?
Got it.
I push all our buttons. Most of the wrong ones.
This place used to be something. This used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney mansion. So their mansion actually sat in the front of this space where the few cars are parked. We're actually fortunate tonight that there's not a lot of people in here. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant over there and came all the way across. And we are standing in the servants and slave quarters for the home. So I'm going to ask you to mute that, at least until I get through the history. Sorry, it can be distracting for me.
That's fine.
Let's kind of get into who the heck were Eliza and Charles. They had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. So that's three different Chucks. That's why we look for secondary clues, if you guys are getting my point, with the art number 40. I need to know which Charles is actually coming through. But the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. That's a big deal for us, but I hate politics. We're going to move on. She's like, what numbers do you have? Trust me, she'll scream them out. Because when they start spiking, you're going to be like, oh my God. But anyway, we're going to move on to Eliza. She has a much cooler story. This is the woman that you and I were speaking about earlier. So I've already given you one fun fact about her. You're not going to tell the rest of the group, so that way, because that's one of the questions we ask, and it's based on where you came from. So if that kind of gives you an idea. You have a 4? Remember our baseline spot.
Okay.
You'll get it. So Eliza, she married Charles at a young age. If the two of you are going to be asking Eliza how old she was when she got married, do not expect numbers like 12 and 14. Think of today's standards. Again, she came from colonial times, that's about the age. 12 and 14 is when a young lady would get married during those days. So again, think of today's standards. And by the way, this is where I start withholding information. I'm not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the big red barn. You're going to get the answers from your spirit boxes. However, you already know one of the major answers, which we're going to get to. The reason I bring up Eliza's age at marriage is because her husband, Charles, was over double her age. And it was kind of a creepy age gap back then, and it's a creepy age gap now. So just kind of keep that in back of your thoughts when you guys are, listening for those kind of numbers. Now, she married him because her father was over in England, where she's from, and he thought he was dying. He's trying to bring all his children home one last time so he could see him before he dies. Eliza didn't believe he was dying, so she stayed put right here, got married in 1744. You don't get married in that year to get a green card because we're not a country yet. So, yeah, you got it. So he's like, oh, yeah, I get that. But anyway, a lot of people like look at me for a minute. I'm like, yeah, you're right. We're not a country yet. I'm like, yeah, we got a good 50 years ago, guys.
Yeah.
But anyway, she was correct. Dad didn't die right away. So he actually started sending her apologetic gifts from England to where we're standing. You guys have been in town for at least a few hours that I know of. You've seen the word indigo somewhere. He sends her indigo seeds. That is a plant that makes blue dye that makes her blue jeans blue. You're wearing it right now. Because that's what we use it for today. But Eliza didn't know how to work with the seeds when she got them. She had to learn from her slaves how to keep it cultivated because it's not always hot here. And then she had to learn how to make the dye. When she figured it out, she moved it to a cash crop, got a hold of Dad, and said, our rice plantations are going downhill. We're going to make a killing with this indigo. So she now has an international, well, we have an international businesswoman during colonial times. So this is the woman I'm going to visit in your hometown in August. So I'm not going to be giving you the major questions of what I already told you, so I'm going to go straight to you. We're going to get into the weird stuff about Eliza. That's the boring business stuff. I have to kind of cover that. So when you're going through questions, also don't get discouraged if you're not getting direct answers. Those answers can go anywhere. We're using basically 4 communication devices tonight. You can ask a question and he can get the answer, or it could come to my voice recorder or his audio. You're getting my point. It can go anywhere. So just don't get discouraged. It's about where it's going to fall. This is why I like to use so many devices. Eliza's death. You can ask anything you want to. She's pretty open about it. We are going to be respectful in here. I don't think I have to bring that up to this group. You guys aren't really rowdy like some of my others. But
you said I know once you said respectful.
Yes. Last night she was a little temperamental, so it was kind of. I had a large group last night, so she can be a little on the go. But how old she was, what she died from, where she's buried, and what president was pallbearer at her funeral. So if that doesn't tell you how important she was, I don't know what will.
Wow.
So,
she was the first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
She was a pioneer for indigo.
Yeah.
With your set of questions, we're going to keep it off of Eliza because you already know enough about her because we've already talked about her. But the mansion's not here anymore. You can ask what happened to it and when did that happen. So if we get the what, which is obviously some type of tragedy, and it wasn't a big earthquake, just so you know, we normally get 2 or 3 numbers out of the date. So just kind of keep that in mind. It might be the actual month. They say, we'll just say January, or you might hear the word first. So again, we don't know how it's going to pop up, but I will see how it actually plays out. You can also ask, and I'm going to ask you to please, be gentle with these questions because this is where things can get a little temperamental with her. You can ask about her children, but only 2 questions. Those 2 questions were, Eliza, how many children did you have, and what were their names? And that is all. The reason why is because there's a tragedy among those kids. If we start poking the bear, all activity stops, including the little bit of EMF we've already gotten. Like, it'll all go down to 0, and it'll be a dead space. So we don't want to piss her off.
So you've done that, and you know that.
4 years running, I've seen it.
Seriously?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll be completely honest. This was a space I was looking to retire just because I was getting some of those, like, yo, Eliza, let's do this kind of people on my tours.
Yeah.
And I was getting disembodied messages, not radio chatter, coming through on a recording that says, please just leave us alone, over 13 radio stations. You have to imagine, I do this for a living. I have the software to see if it's a legitimate thing or not. Now with that one, I do have that one, similarities within a few weeks. I did give it a few weeks break, but my promise to Eliza was we will be brief in here, and I stop by here every night before I meet you guys to let her know how many people I'm bringing. Every single night.
Right
just
on.
to kind of keep things going.
Right on.
But yeah, I change this up every year. I take out one space. I take out one space and I add a new one every year. So I do get a lot of repeat ghost hunters that want to see something different. Sure. So I change it up a little bit. This was one I was like on the fence about because I've been coming here for so long. 13.7 is nothing to sneeze at, is it? Yeah. All right. So
we're above our baseline of 5.
Yeah. Now the new baseline is 13.7. Okay. So hopefully she finds much higher. So let's spread out. Let's stay away from the vehicles. I'm going to basically bounce around with you guys for a couple of round robins to see what you guys have going on with your devices, and we'll kind of take it from there. Have you heard anything before we spread apart?
No. Just the I know.
Just the I know. Okay. All right. Let's see what we can get out of this.
Okay. You going there?
You guys signed up for it. Let's put you to work.
That's right.
You paid
buddy.
me to go to work.
That's right. I love it.
So when I'm using, this is one of the cameras that I don't always follow up with in real time because it is smaller. I do have like a GoPro that's meant for infrared as well. It's even smaller than that.
Okay.
But this is about when I send you guys the video, it goes to YouTube. So that way I can watch it on a nice big screen. You guys can watch it on your TV. So if I'm not following up with you like, hey, what did you find on there? It's because it's the Spirit Box work that's really the real-time moment.
Okay.
Did the mansion burn down?
It did. What'd you get?
It said it burned down. I asked the question.
It basically said it burned down.
No, I asked the question and then it said it burned down.
There's your direct answer. Love it.
Oh.
You're a pro, man. You want a job?
You gonna ask some questions?
We can all work together if you guys want instead of spreading apart. It doesn't matter to
Ask
me.
some
It's your
questions.
night. So this way we can all hear yours. Eliza, I only brought 4 folks as promised. So, you know, actually, this is kind of fun. I don't think I told her this yet. I actually was at the museum just the other day, and I went to go see your dress that they have on display for a short period of time. And I have pictures of it. I am amazed at how small of a person you were for some of the big things that you did for our country. Just not showing a little bit of respect.
Interesting.
It is one of your silk dresses from London. And they are showing very great care, and it's not even on a mannequin, so it doesn't fall apart. So if you'd be so kind to tell us some of the facts that we normally ask about you, particularly your death. Let's go there. Let's ask how old you were when you passed away. Thank you. 15 to me has no relevance to the space, just based on my knowledge. Just put these motion lights in, and I've been trying to use them, like to see if we can get some motion out of them. And they're run by solar power, so they don't give off any heat. Oh, it's a great demo. Perfect.
Is it?
Yeah. All he did was kind of go in front of it. If you do that along the wall, Eliza, it'll turn off after a minute or so. Let's see. It's not easy, Kim, is it?
Trying to keep somebody in point all the time.
I asked her to come near me.
What'd you get?
20.4. I asked her, can you come near me so I can see it?
Now you have a 27.
I did?
You did. 27.3.
Yeah, I asked her to come. so I can read.
Thank you for that, Eliza. You know how this works, dear.
Are you okay with us?
That's a yes.
No.
It's hard to coordinate with this, and yesterday I couldn't.
Are you seeing anything?
No, I'm trying to keep somebody
Trying to keep you in the shot.
in frame all the
okay.
time.
66. Whoa.
Eliza, why don't you give us the age that you were when you passed away so tragically? 66. This is me excited, guys. See, I'm not a TV show host. 11.4, that's good. I would say your baseline's going to be 25 at this point since you passed away. Looks like we're going to have a group passing through here, so just watch your camera.
Over here.
Yeah. Probably the car they're going to.
Probably.
I'm a bad dad with those things, especially when I hand them to little kids. I get a lot of people that are just walking around, like around the. They're like, "What are you guys doing?"
I'm sure
I'm
you
like, Let me
do.
get you my car. Anything at all, Kim? And what's so great about that one specifically is that it's my most accurate spirit box.
Oh, it is? Okay.
So it goes with a ratio of accuracy. So his is giving off, like, he's going to give me a shit ton of stuff, right? So only about half, maybe 30% of it's going to be relevant. Yours is 75% accurate. So when you hear something, it's a 75% chance it's relevant to where we're at.
Okay. Cool.
So that's why I like, his is my favorite because I can record, but I love using that one in real time if it's just me, just because, again, it's that accurate.
Bartender keyword.
Yes, because that's what I call bleed over. So we're still near Big John's. Even though we're talking about those from the centuries, we will see bleed over. We could have gotten Pinky Mansion stuff over there, and you didn't realize it, and we'll get Big John's stuff over here as well. We're still close. So I see it all the time. So I don't bring it up until it actually happens, like what you just did. You heard bartender, I'm going to take it.
Does it have anything to do with this?
No, nothing at all. They wouldn't have had bartenders in the 1700s. They were their own bartenders.
Yeah, that was
You heard bartender.
What am I hitting over there at 56 degrees?
What you got? This 56?
Right over here. Is that a car?
Yep.
Is that what I'm hitting?
56.
50. It was 56, 58.
You're hitting a gap, so it's going in between the trees, or you might be getting some of the metal barn over there. But good eye though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna notice trees are not your friend.
Yeah, they're not.
Because like we're looking at this tree, but in the gaps, in the branches, there's sky in the background.
Oh, gotcha.
You see where I'm going?
Yeah.
So you'll see the blacks and that kind of stuff
Yeah.
in there. And there's certain areas around Charleston where they say you can see the pirates that were hung. I'm like, you're looking at the damn shape of the branches.
Right?
All right, anything else crazy coming out of yours?
She asked how many guests we have.
Eliza, how many guests you have tonight? You said 4.
But you were also asking how many children, correct?
Yes.
And correct answer is
4.
And nothing's coming out of Kim.
No.
Nothing at all.
I've asked all kinds of questions.
What have you asked?
I asked how many kids she had. I asked how many.
Usually quick.
Just
But
ask-
they're answering over here.
True.
So you're asking, and he's
Yeah.
picking up answers. It's a group effort, not just one.
Yep. That's why everybody has their own job. I don't normally hand more than 2 devices to one person. At least if they have to be similar in style. And feel free to switch up too. As long as it's among your party. Like
Right.
you and Kim can switch. Give Kim another minute. I really want her to hear something out of this space. This is probably one of the most active spaces I've ever been
Is
in.
it?
Yeah. Which is part of the reason why I like to start here. This way you guys have a lot. And then once I give you all the answers,
Yeah.
you'll see how it all pieces
Yeah,
together.
that makes sense.
That's one of the reasons why I had such a hard time getting rid of the space and wanting to retire it. Like, I really don't want to, but I don't want to piss her off either.
No.
It's definitely not what I'm about. Eliza, we're only going to stay another minute before I give them all the answers. What else do you want us to know? particularly inside Kim's little black box that she's using. If you want to give us an answer there so she can hear you, that would be great. I'm going to call it. All right, let's go to the back.
Thank you, Eliza.
Yeah, give your hands a break, hit that stop button. So if you're going to actually go all the way through this alley without me, because I can't take you all the way down because I've been kicked out of here. We're going to talk about that next because that's the fun part of the story. But anyway, turn on your voice recorders from your phones and listen to it later. But what I do want you to keep in mind is that every local knows this story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen Street throws a whistle down the alley. I used to do it every single night when my garage was down the road. So I would have to pass the alley, and I would always throw a whistle to throw these guys off every single night. And you're going to see if they leave before us, which they probably won't. There's that air conditioner. You jumped, didn't you?
I think I peed a little.
So again, it's one of those things where I always throw a whistle. Let's get into why I got thrown out of here, because that's really funny. And it's another reason why I don't want to be coming down here much longer. Is because when I first started doing this is where I used to take people all the way through the alley, because here's the history. There was a wall up about halfway between us and Cumberland Street behind you guys. And that's because this is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. It was called Cow Alley. We do get the word cow that shows up here all the time too. But anyway, this is where they kept the livestock, which means those bricks on the other side are older than the ones we're standing on because they were laid first. Those are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child down there, along with some fingerprint swipes and other bricks. So I used to take everybody down, show them the handprint, because we all need to see that handprint to show how far we've come from slavery. You're in a southern state, you need to see it. I don't care about the diversity of my groups, we all need to go down. However, I was new at this, and I'm trying to go down there, and I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. My entire group of November 26th of 2020 wants to huddle around that brick to wait to see what's going to happen with their devices. I know nothing's going to happen because that kid's not there. That's the last place you're going to find him. However, I'm trying to shoo him along because it's also outside the kitchen window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I'm just trying to be respectful. So, at any rate, the new owner of the mansion came out. He was screaming at me. My daughter thought it was great because her dad's getting yelled at.
Oh, yeah.
She was on the tour that night. And we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't work Thanksgiving because before I started doing this full time, I actually worked in retail management, upper management for Walmart for a good part of 20 years. You guys can understand why I don't work on Thanksgiving anymore, I'm sure. So the next day, I called my partner that I had at the time that I was learning the tourism business from, and I told him what happened. And he's like, dude, you can't go down that far. He's like, you're only allowed to go down halfway, which is basically about where they're standing, because that's where the draw line is for tourism. Or you got to reroute your group. I told my group that night on November 28th that I'm going to reroute the group, but I don't believe in the next story we're going to because I've never had anything happen there. We're going to wing it. I can't do that anymore because tickets were much cheaper back then. But before we left the space, oh, by the way, I also told them I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. I'm not a big pirate person at all. So, before we left, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. I didn't tell them who we were going to be investigating. The famous female pirate Anne Bonny. So normally if you hear the word pirate, you automatically go to Blackbeard, a male. They heard the name Anne. So I was like, all right, we'll see what happens. We go up there. I told them what little bit I did know about pirates in Charleston. And somebody else hears the number 300 from another spirit box. I don't know what it means. I write it down. I researched the next day. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720.
No
the
way.
exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. So you're excited, but my shoulders shrumped and I went, damn it. Now I got to learn about pirates.
Yeah.
Here's my problem with pirates. I have a master's degree in creative writing. I'm all about facts, data, and research. Pirate stories are based on pirate lore. That means I had to read a shit ton of books to be able to come up with factual data for a paranormal investigation, so that way everything we're going to discuss at the next location was legit. So, I will also tell you that the next location is a hit or miss. Anne Bonny is said to be seen all over town. The hope is that she's going to be there at the same time we're going to be there. I'll explain why we're at that specific location in relative to Anne Bonny or not. But we're also going to get to bleed over from this location, fingers crossed. Hopefully with yours, you're going to hear a lot more than seriously. Anything else out of yours, Mr. Gabriel?
No, it's been just sweeping. It's kind of not like before.
Okay. That's a good thing why we record everything, so I can go through it later. And then you can go through it after me.
I heard the word music twice. And that's
Music twice.
Like music.
Well, the doctor wasn't a musician.
Yeah,
He
but-
was a poet, though.
Uh-huh.
So he did publish. Oh, his sister published
I
his
hear
poetry.
musician.
Of course, it's the George Washington thing. She heard it, and then you're like, oh, she heard the word music. Now I'm going to hear music. So it's the same type of principle. So notice I always withhold certain things. I just told you that the doctor was a poet. I don't always bring that up because, again, I wait for the word poet or literary to show up because the name of his collection is The Literary Remains of Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd.
Oh.
So we do get that title every once in a while. Before we leave the space, and Kim's getting super bored on me, the cage behind me. So this wrought iron gate, I want you to notice the archway. Remember that I told you that the alley didn't go all the way through this way? Yeah, he's looking for Remy. He's fine. Most of the cats are friendly. They come from the church.
Okay.
Yeah, we're fine. Sorry, I know most of them. Half of them I named already. But anyway, so the alley, because it didn't go all the way through this way, if there was a loser to a duel, this was the shortcut to get to the cemetery on the other side of the wall.
Oh my gosh.
Otherwise, it'd have to go all the way down to the alley, the end of the alley, which you guys have already seen when it's empty, and then loop double back around with a dead body, which is a lot of dead weight to carry. So this way,
Bada
they just
boom.
just create a shortcut. So you get my point. But the archway you can see is original, but the wrought iron gate was probably put there in the early 1900s. So if I'm taking my guess at some of the ironwork and some of the iron workers that we had here, that's probably early 1900s. I don't have an exact number on that. I probably should, as much as
But
I
the
talk about
archway's
it. Definitely original. I mean, you can see it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can see it. But yeah,
This
very
is
interesting space.
relentless, is that-
This is relentless. He heard a phrase. I'm going to take it.
This is relentless.
Came out very clear. All right, so we're going to go learn about rated R pirates. If you got that joke too, you're missing my drum beats, man.
Sorry. I was focused on this. What'd you say there?
I said we're going to go learn about rated R pirates.
Arr!
There we go. I figured as much. I was waiting for the drum, the bada bang.
Bada bing. Arr!
All right, so this is relentless. Any numbers come out of yours? Music showed up. Seriously. All right. Yeah, definitely listen in along the way. Look like the weirdo along the way, and we'll see what other tours we can stay out of the way from. If you want to continue recording, it's up to you.
I'll stop until we get.
So it's a museum now, so if you ever need a good $5 to spend to get out of our heat or cold, because yes, it gets cold down here, that's a good place to go spend $5. But anyway, those are not crosses on the building. Those are earthquake bolts. If you're not from here and you don't know what the hell that is, earthquake bolts are turnbuckles. They go all the way through the roof or the floors of each individual building that we have. Now you can even see it on the apartment building behind it. They're little peach squares. So basically, if we have another earthquake, like what we did in 1886, which we have not, you can turn the turnbuckles and it'll tighten the building so it doesn't incur any further damage. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. The only reason I bring them up is because those particular old ones that look like crosses are the reason why we're here. Those earthquake bolts were the first set that Charleston ever put in because that's the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. We're here because this building was being constructed at the same time that Anne Bonny was coming here to start a new life, or woman leaving her home state.
Oh.
So, yeah, it's kind of a weird coincidence, but we do get a lot of gendered female terms here, and you're going to start to realize why as I kind of move through the story. But at any rate, so this building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? Yeah, no, not at all. Oh, by the way, I call this kind of positioning a familiar. So if you guys have watched the TV shows and you see the teddy bear that they use to attract child ghosts, it's the same principle. Anne Bonny would just recognize this because we don't have many buildings this old. Everything else probably just looks very unfamiliar to her. This is something she would recognize. But anyway, the story begins right in the middle of its construction. So 1708, try to follow me. There's a lot of twists that go on with the crazy pirate female.
Let's do it.
So I'm definitely going to write down Anne. Let's get you unmuted for sure.
And what color is your hair?
I'm trying to stay close to her so I can help her out a little
Yeah.
bit.
He's asking questions.
Good. Is this what you guys thought you signed up for, by the way?
Yeah, no, this is cool. This was a surprise. She says, I've got a surprise once we get to Charleston. So I like it.
Be mindful somebody's going to their car. Sir Hillary.
Hillary, yep.
Hey, watch the car come in.
What was the name of your ship, Jack?
Yeah, really. So that's bleed over from
And-
the doctor.
And what color's
The
your
house
hair?
I told you about where it is. 59 Church Street.
Is that something
It's
there?
known as the Thomas Road. We get it here all the time.
Real.
Get in here. Oh, fine.
Is there an Eliza?
Well, Russia is going to be all over the place, obviously, with the war.
Okay.
Standard.
But
Something's very.
we got a couple tours moving in here. Be careful. They're going to come right up to this wall. We can kind of head out of their way, let them have the space. Guide you all.
Let's think about the ship.
Yeah, that's a normal. Like, we're allowed to go to 20. They're probably right around the 18 mark.
For what?
They're right around that 18 mark of how many people are there. See why I won't go to 20 people? My damn
Yeah.
bag's heavy enough.
Oh yeah. There's no way.
That's a lot.
12 is a lot for me when I have to go that high.
For two sets of 57 and 40 and military.
It's not anything related. Of course it is. This corner's like littered with stories, by the way. I've researched them all. Just when things show up. I think I know what that one is. I want to see if another clue comes up.
What was the name of the ship?
Nope, I was wrong. Hey, nothing wrong with being wrong, right? Trust but verify.
That's right.
I think that's why I keep getting to repeat people that keep coming back. It's because I don't bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, if it's
No,
not
it's-
anything, I'm like, yeah, that's nothing.
Just nothing. Did you get the color of her hair yet? We know it's red.
I'm actually really curious to see how that's going to do on a big iPad.
Yeah.
We actually just, we got a new camera. It's the Stickman camera. Have you seen those on the TV shows?
I have.
Where it looks like a big giant
Yeah.
TV. Well, we found that the Apple LiDAR technology works just like that, and there's an app for it.
Oh, really?
So I got a hold of the app developer and kind of asked him some questions, like what's the best way to operate your app, this, that, and the other. So we put it on the actual iPad, and it's a real-time camera for me. It's not this small thing that I have to wait for the review.
Yep.
It's real-time for the customer, you, and then I get to review it as well. So we're going to be doing the same thing with this guy and putting it on an iPad, so that way it's nice and big.
You ever been to Iowa before?
No.
There's a Villisca, Iowa. It's the oldest unsolved murder in the state of Iowa.
Okay.
We've been through the Axe House. 2 or 3 different times, and there's all kinds of ghost chasers that come through there. It's weird.
Well, when we're all done with this, like on your guys' data set, there's a field guide, and in that field guide, it shows you how to look for all this stuff in here.
Okay.
In case she's not going to know what to look for on here because she didn't look at it all night. But anyway, at the top, I list all the apps, the free apps that you guys can use when you go to spaces like that. Like EMF detectors work on your phone, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah. Don't know how, but they do. If the wife tells me no ghost hunting gear on vacation because it's a romantic weekend, I say, bullshit, I got my phone.
I got my phone still works.
I'm going to go test some things. I do use a digital word generator on most investigations. For some odd reason, I decided, let me see how we do without it. Honestly, it's one of the staples that I normally use. But I was like, tonight, let me just kind of see how we do without it.
Sure.
But it's awesome. I love it. It's better than Ovilus.
Really?
Yeah, the word generator on TV.
Yep.
The reason why is because the word generator that I use has over 9,000 terms in it. The one they use on TV only has 2,000 terms in it, and it's programmed. So this one picks up radio station frequencies, so whatever it hears, the same way that Kim's listening in, it'll just do it for us digitally.
It just puts it out there.
Right. And it saves it to a list for you guys. I give you guys the full list back, and I mark what was relevant to our spaces.
Okay.
But for some odd reason, when I was going through the bag tonight, I'm like, all right, seems like a fun group.
Let's try it.
Let's try it without it and see how we do and see how the score comes out. Gabriel, what do you got going on?
We're trying to ask the city where she came from,
It's
Ireland.
a secret, and no way.
It's a secret.
And then it's like, no way.
There's one of your cats coming in.
Kitty cat.
That's Jack.
Is it pregnant?
Jack looks pregnant.
Yeah, I don't think that's Jack.
Well, they're all friendly. She's going to come right up and rub against her legs. They belong to the circular church. Come on, Jack. She's like, nope.
Hi, Mama. Hi, Mama. How you doing, Mama?
Same Jack. We have another blonde cat that comes through here. I don't think this is the same one. But the one night, we were asking the cat to sit on the numbers that were relevant to Ann Bonnie's date of this. And literally, because they're all numbered. They all have numbers in the parking spaces, like at the end of them. And the cat would literally go right
Mama.
We had and we had it all on video. Like, they hit 4 specific numbers. It was very cool. But they belong to the circular church. We're going to pass that next. What was the last thing you said you heard? I'm sorry, I missed it.
The city of Ireland, but she said it's a secret.
And then I asked again, like, no way.
No way. So at least it's a direct conversation. So it's obviously we're not getting a whole lot here. Tim, have you had anything at all come up? And no numbers at all coming up on your end?
Not besides that 40 and 50
Cars going in here all of a sudden.
Kitty, watch out.
Yeah, let's go ahead and stop your camera. People are going to get weirded out. This to some of the cemeteries because of probably paying the church. Again, it's irrelevant for what I'm doing because I don't believe anything is going on there anyway.
Right.
So, but at least you can walk by it. Have a seat.
All right.
He went right exactly where I normally like to go because the person we're going to be hunting down is that bust over there. So what's going to happen is I'm going to give these two the equipment they're going to need. They're going to play around with it. And then I'll take the two of you over to that bench and I'll tell you what goes on. But keep in mind, it is of that bust of the gentleman right over there. So I'm going to hand you two disposable blindfolds. You get to keep your own eye boogers.
Okay.
Okay, so you're going to stand center. I'm going to go to the left so that way they have the footage. So try to get both of them in there so that way they can see. There you go. Okay, so we are looking to speak to Henry Timrod. If you are here, we need to know what your occupation is. We're on a different bench tonight, Henry, because there's other people in here, and I know you're a pretty shy person. Can you tell us what your occupation is, please? Henry Timrod. If you're not Henry Timrod, please say yes.
Break of dawn.
Tap her on the shoulder for me. She's talking too loud. No, not there. But oh, weird something. Usually it's a little just off center because it needs to calibrate. It's just his earmuff, the outline of it. Henry Timrod, can you please tell us your occupation? Just so that we know that you're here. If you're not Henry Timrod, please say yes.
$1953.
Wow, it's very specific here. If you're not Henry Timrod, please say yes. We don't do this for a long period of time, so you're going to have to give us answers in a short manner. I can't think of anything that happened in 1853 with Henry Timrod. Wow, they're really struggling. Do we have anybody here with us? Please answer in a yes-no format. There are two other spirits that I would like to talk to. If you're here, please say your first name.
Recovery.
Interesting. You male or female? Male or female? Any gender term will suffice. He, she. Okay, we're going to move back to Henry Timrod. Henry, can you tell us your son's birthday, please?
Consider.
Consider what? What do I need to consider? Wow, they're really struggling with this. The girl last night, I mean, we couldn't get her to shut up. I mean, she was all over it.
Really?
Yeah. We didn't have anything super relevant, but we couldn't get her to stop talking. Henry Timrod, can you tell us your son's birthday, please? The number will do. It'll prove to us that you're actually here communicating with us. Any numbers, Rowena?
Dead.
It's weird as we've gotten triple digits in this location. Henry Timrod, we need something specific to know that you're actually here, please. Your occupation, your son's birthday, your wife's name, anything relevant or very specific to you and or your family. If you're not Henry Timrod, you need to at least tell me if you're male or female. So I know.
Mistake.
What's the mistake? Can you tell me what the mistake is? Do you think me coming here on a nightly basis is a mistake? Come on, Gabriel. Here's something, buddy. The poor guy's got nothing.
Soul.
She's getting the hang of it. There's nothing relevant yet. They've been under for 5 minutes already. See how quick? They've been under for 5 minutes. Do you see how quick this goes?
Yeah.
Henry Timrod, please tell us your occupation. If you are not Henry Timrod.
Spiritual sensitivity.
And she heard soul. Like, these are very deep terms here.
Yeah. Spiritual sensitivity.
Henry Timrod, please tell us your occupation. If you are not Henry Timrod, you need to tell us your gender.
Quarter.
Let's stay huddled in. We got other people just weird tours horse walking through.
Quiet.
Hmm?
You good?
Yeah. Yeah, I just... Henry, Timrod, there's some folks walking by. Can you tell me how many people are walking by, please? He's breathing a little heavy. So, Henry, how many people just walked by? Wow, they are struggling. Henry. No numbers at all? Yeah, overall they're doing, they're pretty calm. Henry, can you please tell us anything specific about you or your family?
Charleston.
That's too easy. We know you're from here. Are you a native to Charleston? That's a yes-no format.
Miami.
I think I heard indigo.
Goodbye.
Do you want us to end this session? Yes-no format? It's okay if you do. We'll respect wishes. Just a direct answer of yes or no. Would you like us to end and stop trying to communicate with you? Are you tired of all the people coming through here? Come on, Henry. We need more than just Charleston. That's too easy for us.
Job.
What was your job? Can you tell us? What did you do for a living? Henry, we're running out of time here. We only have about a minute left before we get these folks out of this. Can you tell us what your job was? And then we'll shut it down. We'll make a deal with you. Wow. Like, lack of terms. Very interesting.
Wholesome words.
Wholesome words. What is your occupation? Thank you for that, Henry. A little bit more confirmation. A little bit tighter.
Democracy.
400.
Come on. Henry, specifically, what was your occupation? What did you do to make money? I know you were poor. You didn't have much money. But where did you get it? All right, Henry. I'm going to tap them out. All right, guys. Let's tap their legs. Let's get them tapped out of there.
Okay. Okay. Can you remove it now? You okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
You can go ahead and stop your video.